As the US becomes more tangled in wars, Ukraine, Israel, and as the government goes further into debt and prints more money in order to pay for wars, one can't help but wonder if they will seize assets to help fund their war. And in my paranoia, I started researching how I can protect my Bitcoin from US seizure. So picture this, you're trying to leave your country with your ledger or your keystone, but the government has banned anyone leaving with their hard wallet. So then you go to the airport, you go through TSA, and they catch you with their scanners trying to leave the country with your hard wallet and your Bitcoin. They pull you aside and try to force you to give them your seed phrase. And this sort of thing, this sort of imagination and paranoia has kept me up and forced me to research how having just one set of seed phrases is just a point of failure. Enter Shamir's secret backup and Multisig. You really do not want to skip this part if you want to protect yourself from any sort of seizure or hack. So let's define both. So Shamir Secrets is for backups. What does that mean? Let's take a look at the whiteboard. So here is where I have the master seed, and below that we have seed 1, seed 2, and seed 3. So what this does, Shamir Secret, is basically takes your seed and it can split it up into multiple shares. So in this example, we have 3 shares. But we can also set it so that we can recreate the shares based on the number we set. So to make this simple to understand, we have 3 shares, but we can set it so that we only need 2 shares to get back our master seed. So let's say that I don't have seed 3, so I can just have seed 1 and seed 2. If I have access to those seeds, I can just use these 2 in order to reconstruct the master seed. And that would fully recreate our master seed so we can get back access into our wallet. So the idea here is you have 3 seeds and you want these seeds to be as far as possible so that it makes it really hard in order for someone to get access to your seed phrases to reconstruct your master wallet. So what you would do is ideally you probably have seed 1 in the USA, seed 2 in, let's say, the Arctic where nobody can survive, and seed 3 in China where if China and US goes to war, then it's gonna be really hard to get back your seed if you actually lose it. So that is how Shamir's secret actually works. So if you're into Harry Potter, it's kind of like Horcruxes, you know, with the whole splitting your soul thing. But if you grew up on Dragon Ball like I did, then it's all about collecting Dragon Balls. Because how you want to think about it is you want to think about it as key fragments. So here I have this little graph, and you can see here that I have Canada up here, USA over there, and Antarctica over here. And in the middle is my home. In my home is where I have my clues with me. These clues will lead me to the keys. So for here we have USA having key 2, Canada key 1, and Antarctica key 3. So these clues lead me to getting the keys, collect all the keys, and you get access to your wallet. Now the whole idea behind Shamir's secret is to make backups more secure. Now stick with me here because we're going to talk about Multisig next, and Multisig is what corporations like BlackRock uses, and we're going to discuss whether Multisig is right for someone like you and I. So with Multisig, it's actually a little bit different. Let's go back to the whiteboard. So what we have here is we have 3 wallets, right? Wallet 1, wallet 2, wallet 3. And each of these wallets have their own keys. So wallet 1 would have key 1, wallet 2, key 2, and wallet 3 would have key 3. So what will happen is that with these 3 wallets and with these 3 keys, you actually go ahead and combine them. So we're just gonna add plus signs, and these 3 keys will form what you call the Multisig wallet. So this would be the Multisig wallet with the Multisig key. So that is what they mean when they say Multisig. 3 wallets with 3 keys, you combine the keys together to form a Multisig address with its own Multisig key. So if you watch Stranger Things, remember that one scene where Hopper and Joyce needed to turn 2 keys simultaneously at the same time to shut down the machine that would open a portal to the Upside Down? Man, I've been taking a lot of shots at the Russians for the last couple of videos, so if anything happens to me, you know what happened. But Stranger Things is a great example of Multisig, because Multisig actually doesn't have anything to do with backups. They have everything to do with sending transactions. So let's walk through a short example of when you're sending a transaction with Multisig. So back at our board, we have 3 private keys, and we've set it up such that we only need 2 of the 3 keys in order to authorize a transaction. So here's me and here's my mom, and I want to send some Bitcoin to my mom. So what will happen is that I would need 1 or 2 of these 3 keys in order to send. So if I have access to this key and that key, that will be enough for me to send the transaction over to my mom. But if I only had 1 key, then that wouldn't be enough for me to actually make the transaction happen. So that's the protection of Multisig. It's just so that big corporations that may be holding Bitcoin like BlackRock or MicroStrategy, they want these safeguards so that not anyone can just send transactions, but the right people. So for example, they might have more than 3 keys. They might have 45 keys and they need 20 keys in order to send a transaction. That's possible, but in this simple example, we're using 2 of 3 keys in order to make that transaction happen. So receiving crypto or Bitcoin is the same as any other wallet. You just need an address. You don't have to have multiple wallets or anything. And to do that, or to do Shamir's secret, all you need is a wallet that supports it. And the Keystone is what I use. It supports both Shamir's secret backups and Multisig, and if you want to find out where to get one, check out the link in the description or the pinned comment below, and you can find a nice discount for the Keystone as well. So the one bad thing about Multisig for me is that backup is gonna be a major headache. So let me show you an example with the whiteboard. We have our same 3 keys, right? But in order to do a backup, we would need the private keys of all the wallets. So 1, 2, 3, we need all of these keys plus what they call the wallet configuration file, right? We'll just call it wallet config file. We need all of these in order to reconstruct our Multisig wallet. So all of this for normal people is going to be super technical. They're gonna get intimidated, and especially for older parents who are not familiar with technology, they're gonna take one look at this and they're just gonna say, we're not able to get into his wallet, so that's too bad, we're just gonna have to give it up. And then all of your hustling of securing Bitcoins will be all for nothing. So what do we have here? We have a desk, we have a chair, we have a coffee table, and we have a TV. What do they all have in common? The thing is, they all have in common nuts and bolts. They require tools. You know, with the desk, you have the wood. And that's exactly what Multisig is. You can think of the devices and the private keys as the nuts and bolts, the wood, to put together your address to your wallet. So you need something like the private key of your ledger and 2 more devices if you're using 3 devices. You need to back up those private keys. On top of those private keys, you also have this configuration file, the most important part, because this desk, that chair, they all came with instructions, and that configuration file are the instructions. So you have to have that configuration backed up as well and make sure nobody gets their hands on it, because without that configuration file, without your instructions, you can't build your furniture, you can't build that address together to get access to your wallet. So to sum it up, here's what we learned. With Multisig, the pro is you have top-notch security against hackers. Unless they get 2 of your devices in our examples that we use today, you can't get drained. One con is that it requires multiple signatures to send crypto. Another con is you have to keep track of too many keys and a configuration file. And the third con is if you die, it will probably be next to impossible for your family to retrieve your funds. Number 2, Shamir's secret backup. So the pro of this one is that it enhances backup security. For example, you need 2 of 3 seed phrases in order to get access to your wallet. In our example, the second pro is your family can get your funds easier when you die than with Multisig. At your funeral, they can all come together and give each of the shares to each other, combine them, and they get access to your funds. The one con is that you can get drained easier because there's no Multisig. And the second con is that your family betrays you and they drain you. So before I made this video, I was thinking that I was definitely gonna go all in with Multisig on my keystone. This can do that. But as I was thinking about it, I was thinking, at the end of the day, I'm not BlackRock or MicroStrategy. I'm not gonna hold hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. The most I'm probably gonna get right now, I think, is 1 or 2 Bitcoin. And I feel like at most, that's probably gonna be like $1 or $2 million. Multisig at that point just doesn't make any sense, because if I die, then I'd have this list of instructions, and my family, as technically capable as they are, which they are not, will probably never be able to decode the instructions needed in order to put the wallet back together, because you need 3 devices and 3 keys, and that file, that's a lot. So for me, it seems like Shamir's secret is going to be fine as long as you don't connect the wallet to the internet. It's just gonna be there as a super pure cold wallet. All you're gonna do is send funds to it. You're never gonna connect to the internet unless you die and your family needs to get your funds. And in those cases, you should be fine. But I must reiterate that Shamir is susceptible to your family or whoever you give your secret phrases to draining you at any time. So if you cannot trust your family with any sort of assets or money, then the answer is simple. Just don't give them your secrets. So let's go back to our fictional TSA story of Paranoia that I introduced in the beginning. We're at a time where USA is fighting 3 wars on 3 fronts. They're fighting for Ukraine, for Israel, and for Taiwan. They are running out of money, and they've decided to seize citizen money and assets in order to fund their war funds. So I decided I've had enough of this. I tried to take my hardware wallet and catch a flight out of the country. But because the government has issued a warrant to seize funds, they catch me at TSA with my wallet, and they demanded that I show them what is in that wallet before they let me leave the country. So what I do is I ask them if I can make a phone call, and silly them, they let me make the phone call. What I do is I call my brother and my mom in Canada out of the country, and because both my brother and my mom has 1 share of my seed phrases, my 2 or 3 seed phrases each, I tell them that, all right, I need you guys to combine your seed phrases, get into my wallet, and drain me. Just transfer the funds to another temporary wallet. So they go ahead and do that. Now, after the call, my wallet is drained. I go back and talk to the officers. I show them my wallet, and I show them that I have nothing, and they let me go scot-free. But little do they know that I really just pulled a fast one over them. Alright guys, so I know that this has been a little bit over the top and it'll probably never happen, but in case it does, you know what to do. But do you know the top 3 assets that millennials must have before the US enters civil war? If you don't, then you want to check out this video that I made here.